Wam Yasharala, Kahalayim La Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Harachak Wadash, Mashanaka Wabadyam, Lahazakwanyam Shagarwa Rakab, Wa Al Habakarium, Shayasharala, Adabar, Shalom Wabarakiam, Alata. Aman. So what I said right now was, all praise unto Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Yahweh being the name of the Heavenly Father, who the world ignorantly called God. Yahweh Shai being the name of the Son, who the world ignorantly called Jesus Christ. And the Rachak Kodash, meaning the Holy Spirit, and the Lashon Kodash, the pure tongue, ancient Hebrew. As well as double honors unto the elder apostles of the great millstone. And unto the elect of Israel, I say peace and blessings unto you. So it be true. I'm the brother Thana from the Great Millstone Branch of Las Vegas, coming at you again in the spirit. This is a prayer that I have created in the spirit. I call it, this is the soldier's prayer. So I'm gonna say it all in the Lashon Kodash, and I'm gonna break it down afterwards. We start off our prayers always by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Harachak Kodash, Adawan Shal Tazabah, Aishaya Chazak Wa Amawan, Chayal Ba Tazabaka, Nathan Laya Amataza, Ba Malchama, Mawasar Ba Matazawakwa, Wa Hasmada, Ba Tazara, Shamar Rachaya Mayan Yara, Wa Labya Mayan Am, Lamad La Yadyamya, La Malchama, Wa Rachaya, La Aimad, Kaiwan, Ba Ha'amath, Tawara Tamyar Aman. So yeah, what I just said is, obviously when you start your prayer off, what I said that is bless you Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, in the name of the Holy Spirit. And then I continue on to Lord of hosts, make me a strong and faithful soldier in your army. Give me courage in battle, discipline in hardships, and endurance in trials. Guard my mind from fear and my heart from doubt. Teach my hands to war and my spirit to stand firm in the truth. Thank you always, so it be true. So yeah, that was the prayer, and I'm gonna just break down the words. I know you can see it right here, but I'm just gonna break it down for the brothers and sisters. It says Adawan, meaning Lord, talking about Yahweh. Shal, meaning of. Tazabah, meaning hosts. It means army, the army of Yahweh. Aishaya, meaning make me. Aisha, meaning make, and Ya at the end of a word makes it possessive. It's me. Chazak, meaning strong. Wa means and. Amawan means faithful. Chayal, soldier. So make me a strong and faithful soldier. Ba, tazabaka, in your army. Tazabah meaning army. Ka at the end of a word means your army, the Lord's army. Nathan laya meaning give to me. Nathan meaning give. La meaning to. And ya at the end of the word again means me. Amataza means courage. So give me courage. Nathan laya amataza. Ba malchama. Ba meaning in. Malchama meaning battle. Mawasar meaning discipline. Ba matazawakwa meaning in hardships. So give me discipline in hardships. Hathmada meaning endurance. Ba tazara in trials. So give me courage in battle, discipline in hardships, and endurance in trials. Shamar, meaning guard. Rachaya, meaning my mind. Racha means spirit, but it's also used as mind. So right here I'm using it as mind. And again, a ya at the end of a word turns into possessive, so my mind. Guard my mind. Mayan meaning fear. Yara'a, Salakia. Mayan meaning from. Yara'a meaning fear. So guard my mind from fear. Wa, and labya, meaning my heart. Lab meaning heart. So at the end of it would be my heart. Mayan, from. Doubt. So guard my mind from fear and my heart from doubt. Lamad, teach. Yalad yamya. Yalad means hand. When you put yam at the end of it, it makes it plural. Yalad yam, hands. So, and when you put that ya at the end, it's a possessive. My hands. I know right here it just says my hand, but it's supposed to be my hands, plural. Teach my hands. La, to. Malchama, war. Wa, and. Rachaya, meaning my spirit. La Aimad, to stand. La meaning to, Aimad meaning stand. Kawan meaning firm. Baha Amath, compound word. Ba meaning in, ha meaning the, Amath meaning truth. Bahamath, in the truth. Salakia, Baha Amath. Dawada meaning thank you. Damyad, always or continuous. And Aman, so it be or so it be true. So yeah, that was the prayer right there, the soldier's prayer. Dawadi Ho Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Harachak Wadash, that he put it on my spirit to be able to understand the Hebrew, that I could make prayers to the spirits for brothers. I make them. I make them for me in my life, but I know brothers use them as well. So like I said, Kahalayim, like how about Hashem Yahushai, Hashem Harachak Wadash. They're putting that in my spirit. And I wanted to go into this being the soldier's prayer. I wanted to go into soldier. So like that word soldier. I'm gonna look it up real quick in the Edom online Edom. Just one moment. It says soldier, a fighting man, one engaged in military service, one who serves in the army for pay, one having pay. So yeah, one who serves in the army for pay. What army? The Lord's army. And we're not talking about earthly pay. These worthless dollar bills. That the U.S. government pays the soldiers. And no, we're talking about spiritual riches and heavenly riches. Stored up for us. For Lord will when we make it up to the kingdom, that's gonna be our real pay, not this bullshit dollars that that the government pays off these soldiers, for them that's all that matters. They're not seeing the risk that they're going and fighting a bullshit war for a bullshit reason for some bullshit money, and they'll be happy. Most Jake are happy with it as long as they get a Hellcat out of it. They're cool with it. Give me a scat pack and an AR-15 and sign me up. That's how these dumbasses think these days. They're not looking at the bigger picture. Uh, and most of these soldiers in the army, they're fucking soft. They're not men of war like the Lord. Like we're supposed to be men of war because we're made in the Lord's image. By the Elohim. to be men of war, just like the Father. These men, they're soft, man. They go to war, and fucking their chick fucks around and fucking around on them while they're at war. What do they do? Motherfuckers start uh taking all these motherfucking drugs out there and fucking themselves out, or they just might fuck around and unalive themselves. They're weak minded individuals. They're broken. When we're in the Lord's army, yeah, he breaks us down, but he doesn't break us down to keep us that way. He breaks down that old man and builds up the new one. The army they break down that old man they think they're breaking down that old man, but they're just breaking the man even more. It's just a broken man, a new broken man, if that's what you want to call it. Because by the time they go back home, all their old problems that they had before the war are magnified now because they're so fucked up in the head from the shit that they've seen. Like I said, if they don't turn to drugs to cope with their PTSD, the demons they face, then they just fuck around and swallow a bullet, so to speak. Say it like that. Like I said, they're gonna unalive themselves. A true soldier of the Lord is not soft. He's not distracted with the bullshit of the world. Like, uh, you hear in a lot of war movies. I think it wasn't even. It's not a war movie, but had war in it, where dead presidents, where they're talking about the families at home. He's like, man, I leave that shit back at home because that shit'll fucking get you killed out here. And that's the same sense of being in the Lord's army. If you're worried about, your job or your worldly materials and your worldly life, maybe even your family, man, that's gonna get you. That's gonna end up getting you destroyed. You're worried about the wrong shit. You need to be worried about the mission at hand. Because, like, I even seen a video, an older video of Elder Apostle Raka talking about, a lot of Jake men, they're so caught up on I gotta keep my women happy. I gotta keep my kids happy. That woman's not even, she's not even really your woman unless you caught her fresh as a virgin. That ain't your woman. That's some other dude's woman. And like you said, your kids, from the moment they're born, you sign that birth certificate, they're property of the government. They're not even yours to begin with. So what are you so worried about all this bullshit here on earth? If you had true faith, you would know. If you give all that up, you're gonna receive it again. You're gonna receive all that again in the kingdom. So fuck it. If you gotta give it up to gain something greater, then handle your business. Because at the end of the day, you're not gonna be saved through your women and children. They're gonna be saved through you. Keep that in mind. So like I said, we can't be entangled in this world. And how we should be is we should be disciplined. We should be obedient unto the Lord. Like he says, if you love me, what do you say? If you love me, follow my commandments. Uh, that's part of that being obedient. And we got to be ready for spiritual warfare. And everything that comes with it. Not only spiritual, but Salaki, these demons on these demons roaming around in physical vessels, that are out to get Yasharallah, the higher ups of society, if you will. That they don't want to see us in our natural glory. They want to see us down in the dirt. They want to in their minds, they want to make America great again. If you catch my drift, those people and everyone with them, they're against us, And but this mission that we're on was never promised to be comfortable, or a cakewalk. We go through many trials and tribulations and suffering uh, to complete this mission and complete the objective at hand, which is feed the flock and wake up the lost 12 tribes of Israel. Negroes, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans scattered abroad. That's the mission. So, like I said, no one said this was ever going to be a cakewalk. You know, we go through many tests. You know, in this walk, like it says, wisdom tests you to make sure that's where it starts. When we first come into this truth, we get tested by wisdom to see if we're even worthy to obtain her. You know, that's the first mission before we even start. Before we even start like when you're playing the video game, before you start the main story, you got that little side quest or whatever in the beginning, to start you off, to show you how the game goes. Yeah, that's when we first come into the truth. That's wisdom. She's testing us she's gonna put us through some bullshit to make sure that we are who we say we are. She's gonna vet us for Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai before we could even receive that spirit, and the wisdom and understanding it comes with it. I want to go into Sirach 2 and 3. It says, my son, if thou come to serve the Lord Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, prepare thy soul for temptation. So yeah, plain and simple right there. If you come to serve the Lord, you want to be a part of the Lord's army, you better believe that there's going to be some trials to come with it. This isn't just studying and making videos. Nah, there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes that brothers and sisters, you don't get to see on camera. Though, I'm sure everybody goes through their own. You don't need to, it's not something you need to see on camera to know that we go through bullshit on the daily, Um, you got to be ready when you serve the Lord. You got to be ready for temptation, persecution, and all the trials that come with it. That they're there to prove your faith in the Lord. Um, and to back that up, to say that we're going to be going through trials. We're going to go through the same trials that Yahweh Shai had to go through for us. Before he got put on. Before he was uh slain, and sacrificed for our sins. Uh, and he tells James and John when they're um having the supper, and they're asking him I believe they could sit on his right hand with Yahweh Shai. And what he tells them, this is Matthew 20 and 22. Oh yeah, he's telling the mother James and John Salak. But I'm gonna go up on 21. Let me just start it off for a little context. When she's asking, 20, actually, I'm gonna bring it up to 20. It says, then the mother of James and John, the sons of, this is the NLT, Salak. James and John, the sons of Zebedee, came to Yahweh Shai with her sons. She knelt respectfully to ask a favor. What is your request? He asked. She replied, in your kingdom, please let my two sons sit in places of honor next to you on your right hand side, and the other on your left. But Yahweh Shai answered by saying to them, don't you know what you are asking? Are you able to drink from the bitter cup of suffering I am about to drink? Uh, and then they reply, oh yes, we are able. So he's telling them, like, you wanna come share in my glory, you wanna sit on my right and left hand side, but are you ready to go through what I'm going through? Are you ready for the rejection and all the persecution that comes with being me, being Hamashiach like? It ain't easy. It ain't no easy task. He was the ultimate sacrifice, and no one could. We do it forcefully. He did it willingly. Think about that. Nobody, and none of us would go through what Yahweh Shai went through for damn near anybody, you know. We go through what we go through for brothers, but to say we would go through what Yahweh Shai went through, you know, for everyone, that's a tough task to take on, or even to say that, you're willing to take that task on, because most likely people aren't, nowadays, Jake nowadays really isn't, uh, that aren't in the word. So I also want to bring up, oh yeah, I'm still like I wasn't even done. So yeah, he asked them, are you ready to drink of the cup of the suffering that I'm about to drink of? They say yes. So what I'm saying is, whether you're ready or not, you know, we're gonna have to nowadays. Now he was asking them, are you willing to? Can you, or are you able to? To sip of the same cup of suffering. Now we have to sip of that cup of suffering, whether we feel like it or not. It's part of our. It is part of our repayment back to the Lord, for doing it for us, and we do it with honor, that we should be honored that we get to join in the Lord's suffering, So this is verse 23. And Yahweh told them, "You will indeed drink from the bitter cup." Salat. Yahweh told them, "You will indeed drink from my bitter cup." So yeah, it's like he said, are you willing? Are you able? Do you think you'll be able to sip up a cup of suffering that I drink from? And then, like I say, he goes on to say, well, you will indeed drink from my bitter cup. So whether you feel like you're ready or not, so like, you're going to have to, in these times to come. Jacob's trouble and the time coming up to it. Now we're all sipping of that cup, some way or another. Getting our share of the hell. We're getting purified through that fire. Through that fire of adversity. And I've heard the brother say it before. The elder brother Shaquat, he brought it up. We both kind of brought it up to each other, and the brother, my elder brother Banyakanan. I believe he just said it. I think in our camp call, or maybe even at camp, he brought it up. When we're in that fire of adversity, just like a ironsmith, or when they got that metal in the iron, when they got that iron in the flame, and they're forging it, they're trying to get it to do whatever they need, whatever they needed to do. They had to have it sitting there in that flame, and they're just heating it up, and it's getting red hot, 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 hot. But when do they know when to take it out? They take it out when they see the reflection in it, because if you leave it from that moment, you see a reflection in it. If you leave it in there a second longer, the whole thing's ruined. So when the Lord has us in this fire of adversity, that furnace, so to speak, um, he's letting us have it, and he's letting us sit in there, but he's gonna pull us out once we start showing, once he sees his reflection in us, So yeah, and at that point, then he'll bring us out, but we gotta endure. He that endures until the end shall be saved. So says the book. So says the scriptures. Uh, I want to go into 2 Timothy 2:3. This is in the NLT. So like, yeah. Endure suffering along with me as a good soldier of Hamashiach Yahushai. Soldiers don't get tied up in affairs of civilian life. Then they cannot please the officer who enlisted them. This is what I was talking about. Don't get entangled in the ways of the world. Don't get tripped up on what's gonna happen to my family. If I follow the Lord and I don't take this economic badge that they're trying to push on me, what's gonna happen to my family? Is my family gonna survive? People that aren't built in the spirit, they're gonna fold. And they're gonna end up taking that jab, that CHIP, under duress, because they don't they should know any better, but they don't, and that's on them. But this is why we make these videos. We hit the highways and byways so we can warn the the lost and scattered sheep of Yasharala, so that they do know better. So when it comes to that time, if you don't, that's on you. You need to get your head out your ass and uh you know start looking for the answers that need to be answered, for yourself. So like I said, don't worry about the affairs of this world. Don't worry about your family, because everything we give up, we're gonna get it back tenfold in the kingdom, Lord will. We make it to there. Uh, Soldiers don't get tied up in the affairs of civilian life, for then they cannot please the officer who enlisted them. Speaking on Yahweh Shai, Yahweh Shai created us to be, Yahweh created us to be soldiers in Yahweh Shai's army. They're who enlisted us. It says, yeah, that was that on there. So yeah, don't worry about don't worry about this life and endure this suffering, as a good soldier, you know. So like yeah. So like I said, earlier when I said we gotta be ready for everything that comes with being in this truth, all these trials that are made to test our faith, you know, and the I'm talking about demons, wicked influences, the evil system that is, the image of the beast, in Babylon. They all want to see us fall. So I wanted to bring out, so this is Ephesians 6:12. So yeah, pass it up. Yeah, when these demons, like I said, demons, wicked influences, and evil systems. These are all uh, non-physical threats that we deal with every day. And as well as there is, like I said earlier, there's these demons in these physical vessels that we deal with from time to time. Mainly at camp, and uh, just at random times. You never know when you're gonna run into a physical demon, but you can't get carnal with them, even though we're at war with them. Uh, but let me bring out the scripture. Salak, I just kind of rambled off right now. Uh, so it says, put on the. So I'm gonna go up to Ephesians 6:11. Put on the whole armor of Yahweh, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against the spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore, take your whole armor of power, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, to stand. Stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having the breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherefore ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked, and take the helmet of salvation, and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of power, praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, and watching therefore unto with all perseverance and supplication for all the saints. So yeah, you gotta have, when we're, just like when these soldiers are out there on the battlefield, and what do they got? They got their whatever fucking rifle that the military uses. They got their vests on and their helmet. Just like that, we're out here in this field everywhere. We're not just we're not in the there isn't a designated war zone. Everywhere we go is a war zone because we're always in the battle with these spirits, with these demons. So we always gotta have on, just like the soldiers, the U.S. soldiers are out there in their get up and suited and booted. Whenever we go anywhere, that's how we need to be suited and booted. We need to have on our shield of faith, the breastplate of righteousness, all that, the whole 9 yards. And we need to have this word, in our mind, in our hearts, at all times. That's our weapon, like it says. Um, so, our spiritual sword. That's the word I was looking for. Uh, we have on our breastplate of righteousness, our shield of faith, and our spiritual sword, which is our Bible. The scriptures in the Bible, like I said, they need to be in our heart and in our mind. That's that's having that sword on you at all time, at all times. So um, so yeah, that was that. We need to be able to and endure and be. We need to be comfortable being uncomfortable. We need to be not having uh many friends. People want to give this away. This they want to give away their golden tickets so they could be in the world. It's not guaranteed that we're gonna be in make it to the kingdom, but by us doing this, these works, studying, making lessons, hitting the highways and byways with the brothers, that like I said, that's how we get that so-called golden ticket. That's it's give us a good chance, at least, better than those that aren't putting in the work. um like I said, people, even brothers that are deep in this truth, end up giving up the spirit just to go back into the world because they can't handle being without it. They can't handle they're too entangled into the world, on the down low, and then like I said, the truth, it's always going to come to the light, so to speak. What am I looking for? I want to bring us 2 Timothy 2 and I brought out 2 and 3, but now I'm gonna go down. Oh, Salaki, never mind. I already brought that out. I brought out 2 and 4. Um, what I got? James 4 and 4. Like I said, don't worry about being entangled in this world as a soldier of the Lord. Focus on the mission. Um, it says, "Ye adulterers and adulteresses, know ye not that the friendship of the world is an enmity with Yahweh? Whosoever therefore will be a friend of the world is a enemy of Yahweh." So yeah, you're so focused on like I said, having that Hellcat, that promotion you're trying to get at work. Maybe you just bagged this good looking chick and she's not into the truth like you are, and it's starting to throw you off your course. Or remember, if you want that, if you're for that, then you're not for this. And that word enmity, it means like it says, the a friend of the world, Salak, it says the world is a enmity to Yahweh. Enmity means hatred, bitterness, abhorrence, a dislike, or resentment. All those words are mean the same thing as enmity. So the Lord resents this world. So if the Lord resents this world, and we're supposed to be one with the Lord and be like Him, why the hell would we want to be entangled and caught up in this world? Fuck this world. This world, we want to see this thing blow up already. We want to be on those chariots watching this wicked kingdom burn in that fervent heat. Talking about those missiles. Those the missiles and everything that comes in that time. To come. Lord will, it comes sooner than later. And being a soldier of the Lord, you also have to, like it's even though it says don't be tangled in this world, don't worry about having friends. You know, even though we don't have friends, we always have brothers. We got to know how to use our brothers in battle. Every brother has a gift. Every brother has a strength in something. And like the brothers say, we all got to know our brothers' gifts, because that's what those gifts are going to help us out. We're all brotherhood, we're all one body. So, for instance, I'm really into the Hebrew. If another brother in the body who's not built up in the Hebrew like I am could always call on me and pick my brain on something, as well as there's other brothers in my body, in my branch, that have different gifts. And if I ever need to pick their brain, then I know I could do that. It's just saying it's how using your brother in the battle. We're iron sharpeneth iron. We're all tools. We're all trying to sharpen our sword up and learn how to swing it. So that's where other brothers come in. To build a brother up, we got to make a brother. Don't break a brother. Um, I want to bring up. This is Sirach 6 and 14 in the KJV. A faithful friend is a sturdy shelter. Oh, Salaki, this is not in the KJV. So, one moment, bear with me. Okay. A faithful friend is a strong defense, and he that found such, and one hath found a treasure. So yeah, a faithful friend is a strong defense. That brings me back to a video that I seen. It's probably like from 6 years ago, or maybe I seen it recently. I sent it to the brothers in the group chat that we have. And it reminds me right here where it says a friend is a strong defense. Speaking on a brother, like I said, this is a brotherhood. We're all one body, and brother, for those, I'm sure everybody knows it's a basic word that everybody uses. In the Lashon Kodash, you would say brother at Ak, and it's divides the two characters, the A character and the Cha character. Cha, with when the connector it's Ach. But those two characters have a meaning to them, on their own. So would be it's alap, which means ox or cattle, or it's a symbol of it's a symbol of power, strength. And off the top of my head, I'm forgetting what the full word for the cha character was, but the meaning of it is wall, or in other words, a protection, a defense. So alap or meaning, that ox, strong, symbol of strength or power, and cha being that wall or defense. It's when you put them together, the word brother, that's what it means. It's a strong defense. Just like the scripture says. And that a faithful friend is a strong defense. Um, So yeah, that was that. That's why I just wanted to bring that point out. That we need to know how to use. Each brother needs to know how to reach out and utilize brothers in battle. Just like we're the Lord's battle axes. We're His tool. We need to be tools unto the brothers as well. For be at their disposal if any brother needs anything that you're privy on, or you're a subject that you're well versed in. Hey, by all means, you reach out either way. He reach to you or you to him, doesn't matter. Uh because at one point or another, you know there's something you're not going to know that brother is going to know, and the roles are going to be reversed, and he's going to be the one helping you, helping build you up for battle, for this spiritual battle. And to end it off, I wanted to bring it back to the beginning, like I was saying. The meaning of soldier, one who works in the army for pay. And like I said, we're not paid in filthy lucre. These bullshit dollars that don't mean nothing. these paper notes. We're paid in the glory that we're promised to receive through the Lord by doing these works. By the promise that the Lord made to us through the forefathers, Isaac, Abraham, and Jacob. That reward being that glorious crown. And to back, to prove that I back that up, I'm gonna bring up in Revelation 2:10. Says, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil the devil shall cast some of you into prison. That's going into the, like I said, those trials and temptations to come in Jacob's trouble. We're gonna get cast into prison. They want us to take that economic badge. So some brothers that aren't built up in the faith, as much as others are, they're gonna fold like a lawn chair and uh, receive the jab. Keep going. Into prison, that ye may be tried, and that ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death. Like what that reminded me of was in the book of Maccabees. Judas Maccabees is talking to the Maccabeans, and when they're in war, and he's telling them, we gotta die manfully, die like a man, not like a fucking bitch. Don't go out like a coward. Stand on what you believe in. Every Sunday and every lesson, we're spitting these these words of wisdom out to brothers, and building them up to how they're supposed to be, as the Lord builds us up. But how are we gonna look? We're out here pushing this strong, but when push comes to shove, we crumble under the pressure. Nah, it's not how. That's not how it's supposed to be. Um, be faithful unto death, and I will be faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. So that eternal life, uh, that's the reward. That's what we're in it for. We're not in it for a Hellcat, a scat pack, and a couple guns. That's what the world. That's what that worldly army's about. And by the time all that fucking money's gone, and all they're left is with the Hellcat with fucking engine problems and a pill habit, because they're fucking, most of the motherfuckers that come back from the war end up being fucking pill poppers, or heroin addicts, or whatever their poison is. That's all they're left with. A drug habit, a fucked up mind, and a Hellcat that's got engine problems. and they don't got a way to fix any of them. You know, none of their problems. But us, you know, we may have fucked up vehicles, and you know they call us bums and all this other bullshit. But hey, we're right with the Lord, and we're on the right track. We can feel it in our spirit as far as the brothers of Great Millstone, you know, are concerned. You know, when you're on the up and up with the Lord, you know, you can feel it, bro. You feel it in your spirit. You know, you're not um it's not something to wonder about. You know, you know by everything that happens to you, and in your daily life. You know, by going through these trials and tribulations, we know that the Lord is dealing with us because He chastises those that He loves. You know, that He considers a son. Um, so yeah, like I said, He's gonna give you that crown of life. And when are we gonna receive that crown of life? Because He's not gonna come and give it to us before the race is over. You know, you don't get the in football, you don't get the trophy. You know, you don't receive your Heisman before the game starts or it's over. You know, it don't work that way. You got to make it all the way into the end. Then you'll receive your prize. So when is this prize gonna come? It says it in Second Ezra's. You know, in the vision that Ezra had. So like this is the Second Ezra's 2:42. This is speaking on when we're gonna receive that prize. Like I said, that's the prize. That's the pay that we're in it for. We're not in it for no bullshit, filthy lucre. You know, we don't do it for filthy lucre's sake. We do it for the sake of the Lord and for the lost sheep scattered abroad. So this is Second Ezra 2:42. Slug. I Ezra saw on Mount Zion a great multitude, which I could not number. That great multitude is talking about Yasharala, you know, whereas the sand of the sea, you know, too many of us, even though not all of us are gonna be, on that top of that mountain, like in this vision at that moment. This is for the elect, you know. This is for the for the ones who are really toiling in the soil and putting in that work, you know. This is the winner circle, right? You know, that's gonna be the winner circle, you know. Uh, First place Israelites, if you know, so to speak, you know. Uh, so I Ezra saw on the Mount Zion a great multitude which I could not number, and they were praising the Lord with songs. In their midst was a young man of great stature, taller than any of the others, and on the head of each of them he placed the crown, but he was more exalted than they. And I was held spellbound. And then I asked an angel, "Who are these, my Lord?" He answered and said to me, "These are they who have put off mortal clothing, and they have put on the immortal." You know, we took off that corruptible and put on the incorruptible. And they have confessed the name of Yahweh. Now they are being crowned and receiving palms, and receive palms. And then then I said to the angel, "Who is that young man who has placed crowns on them and puts palms in their hands?" He answered and said to me, "He is the Son of Power, whom they confess in the world." We confess by making these lessons and hitting the highways and byways and waking up the sleeping sheep. So I began. It said, "Whom they confess in the world." So I began to praise those who stand valiantly in the name of the Lord Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai. So yeah, like I said, that's what we do it for. You know, that's the light at the end of the tunnel that we're chasing after. You know, that crown of wisdom from the big brother. You know, the big ark Yahweh Shai. That's the best prize. That's the best prize of all. That, and knowing that we made it. That we don't need no pay. That is our pay. Knowing that we made it. Uh, Man, Lord will, I'm of that number, and I pray that the brothers are as well. And that was the lesson right there. It's the lesson of this a soldier's prayer, and the lesson on being a good soldier. For the Lord, Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. You know, uh, just being a good soldier. Being a good brother. With that, I want to give all honor unto Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Harachak Wadash. Double honors unto the elder apostles and elder bishops of the great millstone, and to the hopeful elect, and diligently pushing this truth out with sincerity and righteousness, and as well to the Akim Wa'akwath, diligently seeking out this truth. Unto you I say, Shalom Brakatah.